Hello, everyone, welcome back to the channel today. Our topic is why only 8% of Dhaka's 100K plus annual housing need is being met. The Bangladesh capital of Dhaka is one of the most populated cities of the world. Over 100,000 additional housing units are required every year to meet with the increasing population who are migrating to this region in search of employment opportunities, education, and good living standards. However, formal housing developers are only meeting the demand, which accounts to less than 8% of the yearly demand. This gaping deficit has culminated in mounting land values, congested slums, increased inequality, and a spiral out of control housing crisis, which has now started to compromise the livability of the city, its economic prospects, and long-term growth patterns. High land prices and unequal access to urban space. Things that make entry into the urban space very difficult would include high prices of land or unequal access to urban space. The land is the most crucial part of Dhaka housing crisis. The central parts of the city have turned out one of the costliest in South Asia, and the land prices have grown exponentially during the last 20 years. This sharp rise in prices is as a result of speedy urbanization, speculative investment, and ill management of the real estate market. With the desire to have and own more land, land appreciation is turned over to the walk of money with the wealthy, socially boasting, and politically established groups, and people hoard it without building housing on them. Private developers are building for the rich, not the majority. The inability to meet housing demand in Dhaka because of a mismatch between the housing provision of the privately led developers and what the majority of the population can afford is another important reason. The luxury and upper middle class housing have been a priority to the formal real estate sector of Bangladesh since they attract maximum returns and are less risk-prone. Fancy apartments in Gulshan and Manani to high-rise towers in Uttara and Bashundhara, the city is full of houses that can cost the common Dhaka people many times of their amount. It is not always the fault of the private developers. They work in a model where profit means more than inclusion. There are excessive land purchase costs, cumbersome regulatory charges, and cost of inflation in constructions, which makes developers' inclination, naturally, in high-end markets to remain profitable. This emphasis hides a basic discrepancy between provision and demand. Government workers, garment workers, service industry workers, and small business owners, which comprise largely of the population of Dhaka, are left out. Poor financing of housing loans and mortgage availability. The major impediment in many urban dwellers of Dhaka to purchasing homes is not the want, but the finance. The formal sector of housing finance is very shallow. Mortgage loans are made accessible to less than 5% of the population, and most of the business is to the high-income earner. Purchasing a home without any kind of financial assistance is, in fact, an impossibility to most of the working and middle-class citizens. Financial institutions and banks are risk-averse. They demand formal employment history, high credit scores, and large down payments conditions that put many people out of the market. People out of the informal labor sector, people living paycheck to paycheck. Women, freelancers, small entrepreneurs, and even most salaried employees find it hard to muster these needs. Bottlenecks in regulation and poor coordination institutions. Dhaka housing sector is also marred by numerous regulatory inefficiencies and bureaucracies that render development to be expensive, tedious, and typically uncertain. It takes a developer through the red tape, whether in obtaining permits, title clearance of land, utility connections, and zoning approvals, just to mention a few. These may be the make or break problems of smaller developers or more socially concerned developers. Fragmentation is one of the important concerns. There are various agencies that work in silos, i.e. Rajuk, Dhaka North, and South City corporations, Ministry of Housing and Public Works, WASA, DESCO. No central body exists, and no central digital platform exists, which provides a smooth process in the name of project approvals. Developers have to go back and forth offices, wasting their time and energy. informality, slum proliferation, and the human cost of inaction. Formal housing supply is grossly insufficient vis-a-vis demand, and this has led the urban poor of Dhaka to fashion their own solutions to solving their housing problems, and this most definitely includes informal settlements, as well as slums. In modern times, almost 40% of the urban population is residing in informal form of housing. Such neighborhoods might not be entitled to any ownership, but they form crucial places of residence of the rickshaw pullers, garment workers, domestic helpers, and a myriad of other human beings who thrives the economy of Dhaka. Recommendation: repairing a broken system to develop a Dhaka inclusive city. The scenario of fulfilling the housing needs of 100,000 plus individuals a year in the city of Dhaka, undergoing massive construction work, especially with the formulation of Dhaka Master Plan, was only an 8%, was not only a planning failure, but was also socially unjust. It is an image of a city that serves a selected few and serves many in a bad way. Unless immediate and coordinated response is taken, Dhaka may emerge as an unequal, exclusionary, and unsustainable city. The full housing need cannot be met by construction alone, though, but fixing the broken systems that have caused this crisis in order to satisfy the full housing need. It implies the reform of land use, the efficiency of regulations, housing finance expansion, and the encouragement of all-inclusive development. It is also making people in the know realize that the people living in informal areas are also human beings, and they should be included in the future of the city. Thanks for watching.